All right, folks, welcome back to my build log of the 1000 Polar Lights USS Voyager. I think this is going to be build log number 6. So after I got everything lit up last night, finished all the wiring, now comes the fun part of gap filling. So first thing to note, I'm filling in with a little bit of Tamiya extra thin along basically every seam line in the ship. For those that haven't used Tamiya extra thin before, it is pretty much magic, and anything smaller than a millimeter will get filled in. I may end up going over that with some additional putty or things like that, but it really does work wonders. So inevitably, after you do the structural construction, the big kind of pin and hole parts, which I usually use. Let's see if I've got my bottle here. All right, which I usually use, just regular to me a medium cement for. You're inevitably going to have spots along, especially for starships or models like this, spots along the outside where you're going to have some gaps or things like that, which is where you use your Tamiya extra thin. So yeah, I've gone along the entire rim of the saucer here to with that Tamiya extra thin to fill in some of those gaps. I am going to go over it with some extra putty. We'll see if we can actually zoom in here. So if you can see here, like around one of the airlock areas, there's this clear seam line basically in between the top and bottom of the saucer. I'm gonna fix that and clear it up and put some putty over it and sand all of that smooth. So right now I had a particularly egregious little spot here, which is why I have the clamps. Same here at the front. So next up is going to be some gap filling. I've started doing that already. Start here at the back of the ship along the neck. You can see that little white line of filler going all the way around to the back, and then here along the sides, all the way underneath the saucer. So, what I do for that, typically for most gap filling, is I will use perfect plastic putty. Yeah, this is a bit of an old bottle and it's a bit squished at the moment. Let's see here. Where is it? Here we go. The big tube. Perfect plastic putty. This stuff is pretty much magic. You can just spread it into gaps. What I'll do, and you may have seen it, for like this small tube, I will either refill it or whatever, and then just put like a very small like micro applicator tip on it. Here we go. I use Zap Flexi Tips. So just stick one of those on the bottle, get it squeezing, and then you can really get in there, fill in some of those small gaps and not waste just a ton of putty and cover up some of those surface details. After I apply the putty into the gap, I will just use a toothpick. If you don't have toothpicks, what are you really doing here? And then use, and this is an old box, but cotton swab precision tip. Q-tip precision tip cotton swabs with just a little bit of water to clean up here. Now you'll notice there's like some residue there along the outside. I'm going to paint over that anyway. I may go over with a slightly damp Q-tip afterwards, but I mean it's as easy cleanup as you can get with this stuff. However, there are times where that cleanup is not going to be so easy, and I'll want to use a stronger putty to really kind of bond those parts together. For that, you got Squadron Gray. What else do I have? And Tamiya Basic Type. These go on really smoothly, but they do basically dissolve the plastic underneath them. So, unless that's something that you want, and you want that, really super solid, where basically the putty becomes part of the ship or part of whatever it is you happen to be building, just stick with perfect plastic stuff. For one thing I'd like to highlight for the engine nacelles here at the front, see if I can. There we go. So there's a seam that runs right down the middle there. I've gone over that with to me extra thin. I may add a little bit of putty, but what I will use to sand that is this. It's a Mr. Hobby G Tool cordless polisher. It comes with these little sticky sandpaper pads, or you can just glue sandpaper on top of them. It's really super convenient. It's just a mini sander. So, give that a go, and it'll do wonders for, smoothing that down and making it look the way that it should. Next up, I'm going to tackle, well, not just the seam line that runs along the back of the ship here, but also these little goobers on the back of the engine. So, Polar Lights, for whatever reason, is seemingly allergic, seemingly allergic to putting on the rounded little edge things that are supposed to go back there. So when I actually did the 1677 version of this kit, I went out and I bought a whole bunch of these from, I think it was Hobbytown, USA, back home in Indianapolis. But obviously you can get these just about anywhere. These are .04 inch or 1 millimeter half rounds. And what I'm going to do with these is essentially secure them right here at the back of the engine, and then slowly just kind of curve those around so they end up right about here or so. Before I do that, of course, I'm gonna take care of that seam there, but like the whole idea is that's, for whatever reason, it's a detail that Polar Lights just didn't include. The 677 didn't have it either, but it's super obvious on the filming model. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Just a lot of gap filling and sanding, and checking lighting and things like that. And then once all of that's done, I'll add a little bit of extra photo etch that I left off because I didn't want it to get damaged or break off or anything like that. And then it'll be hopefully on to painting. So your final set of light blocking, and then everything else that goes along with that. So looking forward to keeping working on this kit. Hopefully it'll take me another week or two to get through everything. But yeah, now that I'm done with the electronics and mounting everything and getting it sealed up, this is the this is the hard part. So thanks for watching. As always, leave questions in the comments and I'll answer them if I can. Thanks.